Come on in this house. Come on, come on. Come on in this house. Woo! Come on. It's the Red Hot Mike. We're back. Yeah. Come on. Like this. Woo! Come on in this house. My co-host, Haley Lamar. Give my hand. He holds my hat for me. Come on. Come on in this house. Come on, come on.
Come on in this house. Get in this house, boy. Girl, you better get your butt in this house. Come on.
It's a Red Hot Mike. I'm your host, G. Alpha Palmer, and we do it like this. Come on. Woo! Come on. Oh, yeah. Come on, come on. Get in here, get in here. Get in here, get in here. Come on in. You're welcome to come into the Red Hot Mic. I'm your host. Cheers. Cheers to you and the best of you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Woo! This is how we do. That's how we do. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's good to see you one more again and to do this one more time. And I'm so glad to be with you one more time. But we just going to go for a little bit. We're going to get this vibe going a little bit. Because we want to talk about some real serious stuff tonight. We'll talk about some real serious stuff. Come on. Somebody want to be a mini-me. Come on. I'm about to go loco. Leave my haters red like Olu. Yeah, trying to get the green like it's Whole Foods. Inside my style and it's so blue. Yeah, we don't even know you. Your hometown we don't even go to. Trying to get it worldwide global. Looking like a show you can kill it in the road. Spiller, the whole man killer. Life so free, can't no man. Come on. Come on. Man, girl still move like Superman with no foul. Woo! In me, I get hectic. I survive through the wreckage. She go look for the exit. New sheriff in town. Trying to get a little reckless. The memo, go check the message. Come on. You're in the Red Hot Mic. You in that hot spot. Oh, don't put your hand in the fire. You get burned. Come on. Come on. Friend, enemy, friend who's an enemy. You know what that's about. You got some of those. They just want to be mini-me's. Come on. Come on. They just want to be mini-me's. Frenemies. Come on. It's the Red Hot Mic. I just like having a little fun. Can we do that? We got a little time. Woo! That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Come on. Come on. We're going to do a little old school. We're going to do a little old school. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. Woo! Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Woo! Come on. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Woo! Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Come on. Let's have a little fun. Let's have a little fun. Because you're the one. Come on. Woo! This is how we do. This is a little old school. Come on. Come on. All right now. Come on. Come on in this house. Come on in this house. You know how your mom used to tell you that? When them street lights came on. Come on in this house. Oh, yeah. Woo! All right. Woo! Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's good for you. It's good for you. It gets all that yuckiness out, so you can just enjoy yourself a little bit, get loose a little bit, because we only go around once, right? So you want to go around enjoying yourself. And that's what we try to do here on the Red Hot Mic. I try to get loose a little bit because that's what I like to do. I've always liked getting loose a little bit ever since I was a kid. So I mean, it's who I am. I'm not doing this for you. This is who I am. This is part of who I am. I'm just sharing the total of who I am with you. And so this is part of me. And so this attire, this is who I am too. This is who I am. I have a lot of different areas, compartments of who I am, and so do you. And we've got to learn to just be free. People are going to say something about you regardless of what you do or what you don't. They're going to have an opinion. So you know what? Opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody got one, but it doesn't matter. It's about who you say you are. And that's why I toast you. I toast you because of who you are, the best in you and the best that you will be, because we're still not where we're going. We're still developing. We're still growing. We're still extending. We're still expanding, and we're still elevating. So this is for you. Pomegranate juice. Remember that. Okay. All right. So what I want to do first, I want to share this with you. Well, we're back. 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 And we are just making sure everything is everything before we go into proceed into what we want to do on the show here. I'm still new. I'm still new. I'm working this thing out. I'm learning as I go. But I'm past being intimidated about just getting out here. You know, I'm done with that. I'm done with it because the bottom line is nothing's going to be perfect. I hear so many people talk about it. It's not going to be perfect. Just go ahead and get out here and do what you believe that you need to be doing, and that's what I'm going to do. I know I'm not here for everybody. I've had people tell me, "Oh, you should do this or you should do that." Well, you should be quiet because the bottom line is I'm doing it and you're not. So I mean, if I was something that you could do or would do, you should go ahead and do it. Okay, so I got this light on my face because I'm trying to not have the glare in my glasses, but it's there, you know. So I'm going to probably take them on, take them off as I need it. Okay, all right, but we're here at the Red Hot Mic, and I'm really excited about tonight and what I wanted to talk about tonight. Um, Before I get started, I want to ask you. I need your help. I need your help. I can't do this alone. I'm new at this, and I need your encouragement as I go forward. And if you would like, share, and hit the notification bell, you'll know when we are um, uploading new content. Now, we are on StreamYard, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook tonight. So we're on 4 different platforms tonight: StreamYard, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you would like, share, or hit the notification, whatever applies, it would be much appreciated. You know, I know people are. I've been canceled by some people because of the things that I've said and in some of the posts that I've made, and without really explaining myself, I think if they were to hear what I have to say as opposed to just the words, because you can only get a certain amount of words on a tweet or on Facebook. So I try to keep the words down to as concise as possible. And sometimes it may, as I've been told, come across a little gruff. But that's not really who I am. That's not what I've been sent to do. But at the same token, a masculine voice is going to be gruff. It's going to be directive. It's going to be intense. It's going to, and for a lot of us, we weren't reared with a masculine voice. We really weren't. And as a result of that, we had to learn, or we have to learn, to hear a masculine voice as opposed to objecting to one. It's really interesting because I get even other men who would speak to me and say that what I'm doing is a little harsh or hard, or what have you. And that's a lot of times we find that these guys are guys that didn't have men in their lives either, and they basically grew up with a feminine voice and a feminine recorder playing in the background, and as a result of that, they have a tendency to stand up and to speak out against their own interests, and in doing that, they sound more feminine than they do masculine, and you can hear that in the way in the words that they use, in the way that they talk. Um, I want to talk some more during this broadcast. I'm a firm believer that the more you hear, the more you retain. The more that you hear, not listen, hear, and see. So many people are wanting to, they are wanting to listen as opposed to hear, because they want to wait until you shut up, because that's what listening is. Listening is just hearing you make noise, wah 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 wah, until you shut up, and then I can refute everything you said and not listen to what you said. and not even be able to even repeat what you said. And that's what I try to get people to do. Well, what did you just hear me say? What did you hear me say? And as opposed to what did you read me say? And you haven't even met me to know the tenor, texture, or the bass of my voice, but to think that I'm saying something that I'm not, because you don't understand from the mentality where I'm coming from. So um, I get a lot of hate mail, and that's fine. I don't hate. I can't do what I do in hate, but I can um, be full of my assignment, know my mission, and understand my design. So I bring what I bring to the table, and that is masculinity in its raw sense. I'm raw masculinity. Nothing, uh, no pretense. Just yeah, it's gonna be rough sometimes. It's gonna be rough, but at the same token, I believe that masculinity is rooted in love. I believe that masculinity is rooted in caring, and wanting to see the best, and wanting to provide the best. So I'm here to do what I believe that I've been commissioned to do. There's so much on my mind that I want to talk about. Um, I want to talk about, let me just say this. I'm on a lot of social media platforms, and I have an opportunity to listen to what other content creators are saying. And this is what I've come up with. There are a lot of people out there, and I'm not specifically putting a name on anyone. There are some great content creators. I've seen some great stuff, but there is a difference between a content creator and a content copier. There's a difference, and so many are content copiers. They're stealing from other. That's thievery. That's being a thief. Thievery is not honorable. It's not. And so if we're taking something from someone, we have to realize that that's not an honorable thing, and we've got to understand that we have our own voice, and it's important for you to find your voice and not be an echo, but to be a voice. You were created to be a voice and not an echo. So in doing that, what we've got to do is we've got to put ourselves in a place where we can find our voice. And I wanted to share a little bit with you concerning our new YouTube channel that's going to be starting on March the 1st. March the 1st is going to be our new additional YouTube channel. And it's called Purpose Sphere. Purpose Sphere, not Purpose Fear, Purpose Sphere. And it's about and around the whole subject of purpose. And we talk about the theory of purposeology. And we're going to talk about that. And hopefully, our intent is to help people to grow, both boys, girls, males, females, men, and women, and to shape and to form into the very image that you were meant to be, because there's something that you are supposed to do. You are an important person. You are a unique person. You are a masterpiece, and you are an valuable entity, and there's no one like you. And it's important for us to understand that. And I want to share with you why I say that on our other station. So we're sending out different things. If you would like to be on the email list, or you would like to um, be a part of we have some free things that are coming up. If you would like to do that, send me an email, or text me a email address to 301-875-1218. I'll say it again, 301-875-1218. Send me your email address. I'll add you to the email list, and so we can whatever comes out, you'll get it. The free gifts that come out, you'll get it. So I'm looking forward to that coming March 1st. So let's come back to where we are here. I'm just getting started with this channel, and we're going to start another channel too. But it's important that we dovetail because of what this channel is supposed to do and what that channel is supposed to do. That's more spiritual. This is more reality based in what we're living and going through. Not that spirituality isn't, because it is the even more real, actually. Um, but I want to address what we're going through now because we're living in this now, and so we want to address it. So a lot of times the things that I'm going to say may not sound like what you're hearing from other people, and the reason is because my perspective is not the same. I'm not a I'm more of a spiritual person than anything else. So what you'll get from me, everything is going to have a spiritual undertow, or a foundation. Maybe not an undertow to pull you under, but to a foundation that you can set your feet on. But the bottom line is this: I know I'm not for everyone. I'm not, and I'm not going to have the voice that you may receive. You may not like the way I sound. You may not like the way I look. You may not, but that means I'm not for you. And if I'm not for you, I'm okay with that, and I hope you are too. So that you can go ahead and move on with whatever it is that you want to do with your life, and then I can move on and do what I'm supposed to do as well. So we're here at the Red Hot Mic, and tonight we want to talk about. I want to continue to talk about something that I think that is very, very, very important, and here's why. We are in a difficult situation, um, culturally. Culturally, we're in a difficult situation because of what's happening around us. Um, and what we've got to do is we've got to um, learn to hear, to I like to say this: to ruminate, right? To elevate and to activate, and that's what timing is. It's time to ruminate, elevate, and activate. Because when we do those things, it causes us to hear. And when we do those things, it causes us to positionally elevate and move to another position, another area, whether that be mentally, physically, uh, philosophically, psychologically, however, whatever we need. If we are looking to elevate, we can do that. But what we've got to do is be willing to hear something that we haven't heard before, or to hear something differently. And then for some of us, it's just to confirm what you already have known. And that's great too, because, and if that's the case, it's no reason for you to stay here. You need to elevate continually, because that's what life is about. Life is not about staying stationary at one location. So many people get to a place and they say, well, I got it all. No, you don't. Because the bottom line is this: you are where you are until you're ready to move again. And that's the thing. We're not ready to move. Some of us think that we've got it all. No one, the creator is too huge. The universe is too vast that we can gain it all. We'll continually grow, expand, and elevate if we open ourselves up to that. And as we do that, we can open different doors. We can go to different elevations, right? And then when we do that, we sit down for a little while and we begin to ruminate, and as we ruminate, we prepare ourselves to elevate again, and then we activate and we move again. And that's what it's all about. It's all about us not staying where we are, but getting what the most of what we can where we are. Instead of debating and fighting, hear what someone is saying as opposed to what they're not saying. Just because they're not saying what you're saying doesn't mean they're wrong and you're right. It doesn't mean that you're right and they're wrong. It doesn't mean, all it means is that we need to hear each other instead of listening to one another. So I want to talk about what seems to continually be a problem. I've seen some things on social media that really are are just dreadful, dreadful behavior, dreadful behavior. And what we have to understand is this: um, one of the things that's going to cause regulation to take place and limit access is because of some of us, the way we act and the way we govern ourselves. It's important that we govern ourselves accordingly. That would not bring any type of of disdain that would warrant retribution or discipline. So we need to, as much as possible, because I understand nobody's perfect, nobody's perfect, but we've got to understand that there's people watching, and your behavior. If I mean, I'm talking to people that are doing this to help people, as opposed to trying to entertain and trying to get clicks, trying to get attention, and those kind of things. Because no matter what you gain, it doesn't matter what you gain. If you gain the world, but you lose your soul, and losing your soul means that you lose your ability to distinguish life, liberty, and happiness. Your mind, will, and emotions become so tainted and just dirty, because we have the wrong attitude about what we're doing. What we're trying to do is to become popular, and it's not about being popular, it's about being effective. Are you being effective? I want to be effective, not popular. If popularity comes, fine. If it doesn't, however many voices, how many ears, I should say, that would hear that, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. So it's important that we understand that what we're having is it's a gender war. We are battling one another. We're battling one another, and it's getting worse, and it's getting projected in the social media, and it's I conducted a social experiment a little while ago, and what I did was I wanted to see the people that were coming to my site or coming to my page, or the people who weren't well. I wanted to see how many. Some people just come through, but some people will stay, and when they stay for a certain reason. And so I put something on my page that's really not indicative of who I am, but I did it as a social experiment to see how many people would click. And boy, it was a lot. It was a lot, probably probably more than I have had in a long, long time. And that shows me that people are watching. They're watching, and they're watching you too. They're watching, but you got to be walking in purpose. You got to be fulfilling purpose. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing, and I'm doing what I'm doing very intentionally. I want to talk about again. I want to talk about this idea of what we're facing. We're facing um, this waging of genders, and this waging of genders that we're experiencing seems to be um, based on the fact that we don't know the difference between masculinity and femininity. We don't know the difference between masculinity and femininity. What we do know is misogyny, and we know chauvinism, and we know feminism. We know those. And that's what where we talk more about of those, not knowing, and we refer to them as masculinity and femininity, but they're not masculinity or femininity. And so it's important that we be able to distinguish the real from the pretend. And so if we could do that, what we'll do is we'll stop seeing the debates and the arguing, because um, I know for me, it's not about me trying to be right. I just want you to have a way of thinking about something more than one way. I don't want to be right. I just want to give you something else to chew on, and maybe in time your mind or your viewpoint or your mentality may change, or at least be able to consider something that's different than what we've been taught. Because many of us have been taught and taught wrong, right? We know that. We know that. But our parents and those around us, we have to believe they did the best that they could with what they had. But yet now it's time for us to take the onus is on us to begin to develop, to elevate, to extend, and to expand. It's time for us to do that. So I want to talk about masculinity and femininity, and it's important that I say things more than once, because it's important to understand that just because you heard it one time don't mean you really heard it. It doesn't mean that, and we've got to hear until it becomes a part of us. We've got to hear, not listen. Hear. Now, the ones that hear will take what I'm saying. They will ruminate on it, right? They will prepare to elevate themselves with it and then eventually activate themselves. But the other ones, those that listen, they'll be the ones on your site that reply and have something negative to say, something that some disparity, something that's not productive, something that's not positive. But that's fine because they're not locating me; they're locating themselves. Um, but that's what it is. It is what it is. But let's look at the idea of masculinity, because many of us have not grown up with masculinity. We've grown up with misogyny. We've grown up with chauvinism. We've grown up with feminism. And so they're feminists. There's a difference between they're feminists that are projecting themselves as being feminine, and they're not. And I'm going to share why again. Okay, the first thing we got to understand is that masculinity and femininity are not gender. Not when they're in the ethereal, or in the spirit, or in the essence, or in the the spiritual realm, that realm outside of the realm in which we live. There are no genders. We think that our religions tell us that when we transition from this place to the next, to that's beyond, that we are going to we're going to recognize one another. We're going to recognize each other, but we're not going to recognize each other for what the reason why you think. See, that's the thing. We have taken religion, and we have taken it to the point that we're thinking that it's going to be a certain way when it won't. And so that's the stuff that we're going to share on the other station. But when we talk about masculinity and femininity, those are energies. Those are energies. Those aren't genders. Those are energies. Those are essence. Those are those are creations of the source. They come from the source. They're a part of the source. And the source, um, people call God, or some call universe. I call it the creator. Um, I call I call not the creator, not only the creator, I call the creator the master scientist. Um, I call the creator the manufacturer. I call the creator the producer. So I use all these analogies, these titles, to help us to better understand what it is. But when we identify those things, none of those things identify gender. It identifies function and operation. And so what masculinity and femininity does is it provides a means and an idea of what, those things, how they function. I was getting ready tonight for this program, and um, a thought came to me about um, what the word idea means. It's an acrostic, and when we get an idea is not an idea until it fulfills, or ideas don't feel aren't ideas until they feel this information. Acrostic means that each letter has a meaning. So I for it means information. Okay. um, D means data. Okay. E means evidence. A means analysis, and S means science. Ideas have to have those in it in order for it to be a real idea. Anything else is just something the reaction to something you ate. It's the reaction of something you ate. But anyway, it's not an idea. So if something comes, we need to start researching. It's got to have some teeth to it, and not just emotional responses. Okay, emotions are important, but we have to have the idea has to have those elements to it. So masculinity and femininity are not gender in the esoteric or in the great beyond. Okay, they're not gender. There is no gender in that dimension. So when our loved ones leave here and go to that dimension, believe me, that person is gone. They are no longer here, and they're not there. And you're not going to go there and meet that person. But what you have to understand is that when they leave this place, they return to what they were before they came. And that was the energy that came, the life source, part of the life source, the life energy, and that returns back. What we want to do is we want to see people punished. We want them to go to hell because of what they did or what they didn't do, or et cetera, et cetera. But the bottom line is when everyone leaves this place, that person is gone. What we have left are memories. What we have left are pictures, you know, those memories of things. You remember when, I remember the way that, or we smell their clothes or whatever it is that helps us to remember them. But the bottom line is that person has returned, and they returned to the place that they were before they came here. What is that place? We don't know, do we? Because we all we know is what we know once we got here and came to the place of being able to become aware. And once we became aware of this, what we call reality or realm or dimension or domain. But the bottom line is when we leave this place, all of this is done. And it's done. It's done. So what we want to do, and the reason why you're here is to be effective, right? So when masculinity and femininity are in the great beyond, what they have to do, what we have to understand that they do is this. Masculinity and femininity are dependent on one another. They need one another. Masculinity inserts, injects, and penetrates. Okay? That's the operation of masculinity. Everything that masculinity does, it operates in penetrating, piercing, inserting in, and injecting. That's what it does. Now, some people would think that that's sexual, but it's not in that realm. That's the operational standard operating procedure of masculinity in the realm before it comes here. Femininity on the other side of the same coin, it receives, it nurtures, it incubates, okay, and it nurtures. I believe I said nurtures. Wait, if I didn't, it nurtures. So it does those kinds of things out there, out there. That's what it does. Now, it's important to understand that before you came, you were an idea. Before you were born, before you were the performance of a sexual act, you were an idea. You are an idea of something that's needed in this realm. You are. So, from a scientific perspective, there was a great scientist that came up with a formula, a quotient, okay, a chemical reaction or chemical uh, formula, a chemical form, and that chemical formula is the answer to a specific question, and that chemical formula is you. You are sent here to do something. Now, understand this: when masculinity or femininity comes into this realm, everything that comes into this realm must have a body. Why? Because a body is required to operate in this realm psychologically, physically, or physically. It as far as emotions and philosophically, and in every area that it needs to have a body. It cannot just come, because that will be illegal. That would not be right. Everything in this realm is governed by scientific method or laws. And so it just can't come. There has to be a right way of doing it. Now, I've said this before, and I want you to hear this because you've never heard this before. You've never heard this before. Someone's going to say that they've been saying it, but okay. Well, some of you have not heard this before because there's nothing new. So some of you may have said this, but a lot of you have not. So the one thing that you've got to understand is that the transition from the ethereal to the physical, there is a transformation that must take place in order for that which is to appear here to be legal. You came here, you are legally here by right. You have every right to be here and to do and operate and to function. You have every right. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. You are an intentional idea. Yes, you are an intentional idea. And because you're an intentional idea, that means there was a mind that had to think of that idea. And that mastermind is the great scientist that we talked about before. So it's important to understand that whatever comes into this realm must have a body. We're talking about humans. We're talking animals. Animals have to have a body. Okay? Everything that is produced in this realm has to have a body. Now, so I know some people are so caught up in the ghosts and goblins and ghouls and all that stuff. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about the whole idea of having to have a body as masculine and feminine, the energies that come and are at the foundation of everything on our planet. Everything on our planet. Now, and it's called binary codes. It's two codes. It's masculine and feminine. Masculine and feminine. So when it comes into this realm, it has to put on a body. That a body is assigned by the purpose or the mind or the idea or the purpose that you're supposed to have when you come here. That's not done by your parents. That's not done by you. That's done by the universe, the creator, the great spirit, as the Indians say, or Native Americans. So it's all these things. So we got to understand that when a person comes, it is not it is not them coming in their own accord. What we've got to do in this day and time is learn to embrace who we are. But what's happening is people who are not embracing because they've not found who they are or they've not found the reason why they are. So when we enter into this sphere, into this domain, and when we enter into this dimension, okay, when we come in here, what we have to have is a body. Now, depending on the energy that our assignment has, will dictate the kind of body that we are going to be housed in. Okay, so masculine energy, that ethereal energy that's come in, has to come into a male body, and the female or the feminine has to come into the girl body. Now, understand this. I've said this before. You did not come to this world as a male or female. We came in as a boy or a girl. Boy or girl. You're a boy or a girl. There's only it's that's binary. I did not call this. I'm just delivering the mail, as I said to you before. Binary. And when we come into this realm, it becomes singularity because you have one. You have one. Now, it's important to understand that once we came here and we've put on those suits, whether we're now a boy or a girl, the boy carries the masculine, the girl carries the feminine. Now, once we've come here, now it's time, we've got to understand something. We are blank slates. We are blank slates, and because we're blank slates, it's important, it's imperative that our, and I said this before, that our software is uploaded with the right kind of information. The right files need to be uploaded onto our the right softwares need to be uploaded on our drive, because if it isn't, we will malfunction, and that's the problem. We have software developers who have placed the wrong information or failed to place the right information in. Now, who are the software developers? The software developers are our parents. Now, I know everybody's got a story, and I'm talking about you, that all things being equal. Now, I know there's situations, because there's not 100 of anything. So I know that there are situations and circumstances that many of you have gone through. That's not who I'm talking to. I'm talking about you that have parents that grew up in a home where you had parents, and okay, that's who I'm talking about. When we came into this dimension, and our parents became our software developers. They were the ones supposedly to upload the right software in us to ensure that we operate and function the way that the company has really wanted us to do from the beginning, which is why the producer produced us in the first place. Now, it's important to understand that some folks are going to, they haven't embraced who they are. Okay. Yet you have some people who have not embraced who they are for various reasons. And I would say it's not all their fault. It is not always their fault. It's the community culture clan that has not gave them the right information that they needed, and it happens a lot, and so we're seeing it, the result of it, and the result is that there's an attempt to do away with binary coding. There are people that are saying that they are non-binary. They're not using the proper pronouns. All I'm you can you can choose to do whatever you want, but what I'm saying is this: it will adversely affect you being able to fulfill your very purpose, because you came here with the very equipment that will afford you the best opportunity to fulfill your purpose. What you were created and sent to do. So many of us want to do our own thing, but it's just like any other computer. If a computer is uploaded with the wrong software, there's two things that can happen. It can get fixed or it has to be replaced. That's all that can happen. That's all that can happen. So the bottom line is understanding that you are not an accident. You came here with a mission to accomplish. And I say this all the time. We came into this planet with DNA. I think it's deoxyribonucleic hydro. well, whatever, acid. It's DNA. So with DNA, the bottom line is we have DNA, but DNA is not all that we have. I submit to you that we have DMA, which is design, mission, and assignment. You are not an accident. You're just not you you were planned before the glint in your parents' eye. You were sent. You've got something to do that only you can do. Now, to understand that, you got to understand that there is a feminine and a masculine part to purpose. You can only do your part of purpose as a masculine man. She has the feminine piece, and you come together, and that those two make one and fulfill purpose holistically, not from a masculine or just from a feminine, but from a holistic to becoming one. And that's where the problem is. We're not embracing who we are. We're not embracing the fact that as a female, everyone is comes into this planet, into this domain, into this dimension through you. Now, some have taken it and to mean something that it doesn't mean. It doesn't make you anyone special. It really doesn't. You're supposed to do that. That's why you're here. You don't get a star on your paper for being able to give to have children. You're supposed to do that. All things being equal, you're supposed to do that. You're sent here. That's part of the feminine DNA. It's part of the feminine DMA, design, mission, and assignment. That's part of it. So being that that's who you are, we can't take any credit for it. But at the same token, we need to embrace it and embrace that aspect of who we are. Now, there's more to us than that, but we've got to understand that who we are is not who we are, but it should be about why we are. First thing we were taught in school, in language is who, what, when, where, how, why. What is interesting how why was last, but it should have been first. The first shall be last, last shall be first. Why should have been first because why is why. That's the most important question that we need. Why are you here? Why were you born? What is it that you're supposed to be done will be answered by the why. Once we find out the why. But masculinity and femininity needs each other. Equal but not the same. Equal but not the same. That's important for us to understand. You need her, she needs you. Flat out. But we want to make it seem like, and it comes from a chauvinistic, misogynistic place. Some people have accused me of that. But that was to get your attention because I want you to understand something. You need us. And in this culture now, it's trying to promote that, you don't need him. Or it promotes, it's confusing because first on one end it says you don't need him, and then on the other end it says you can have it all. Well, what does that mean? Either you can have it all, or you the bottom line is, the truth be told, you cannot have it all. You're not meant to have it all. What you're meant to do is to have all of what you're supposed to be doing. And if you're doing what you were sent here to do, you'll have all of that. But all the other stuff, you won't get any of that. But what we want is, we want to have everything that everyone else has. And you can't. You can't. You can only have what's meant for you to have. And if you can learn to embrace who you are and the love for yourself, you will begin to appreciate and how highly favored you are and how important you are to fixing what ills that we have in our community. We're looking at celebrities and politicians. We think that they have the answers. They don't. They don't. They don't. They're celebrities that you think would have everything that you would possibly want, and they do harm to themselves, whether that harm be of a permanent or a temporary type. They do things to themselves. Excuse me. What I want to do is I want to have conversations with you, and so I want to be able to bring you into the chat room. I'm going to learn how to do it. I'm going to learn how to do it. I haven't learned yet, but I'm going to learn how to do it, and I'm going to bring you in the chat room. We're going to talk because I believe it's needful. I would love to talk with you about some of the things that I'm speaking on, and I love to hear your questions, your comments, and your thoughts, because I'm a firm believer that iron sharpens iron. No one has it all, but if we open ourselves to one another, we can gain something from one another. So the idea of masculinity and femininity um, and I say it all the time. Here's the truth of it. The truth is that we're equal, but not the same. We're equal, but not the same. It's important to understand that. I want to share with you real quickly before I leave how important orderly and legality and legal are important in this realm in which we live. when when man was first created, man was created, woman was formed. Here's why. Before femininity and masculinity came into this realm, it's important to understand that masculinity could enter in because of how it operates. It pierces, it injects, it inserts, and it penetrates. Okay. To come into this realm, that needed to occur. But femininity doesn't do those things. It would have been unlawful for femininity to try to penetrate, to pierce, to insert or inject, because it's not designed for that. It's not designed for that. However, what happened was masculinity took femininity inside of itself and covered it and came into this in this location, into this domain, into this dimension, into this realm lawfully. There was no other way that femininity could enter this domain. Femininity had to come in under the covering of masculinity. Now, once masculinity came here and began to see that it was no mate for him, and that he needed to release something from himself in order to gain that which he didn't have. What he was able to do, the creator was able to put him to sleep and extract femininity and went and formed her, which is different than create. Because creating something, man was created out of nothing, but woman was formed from something, a rib that came out of him. Oh, yeah. So the red hot mic, this is different, isn't it? You didn't think it was going to be like this. But I'm going to continue to share with you on this kind of level. But we're going to take it even a little further on the other station. So I'm hoping that you'll come over there as well, because I want to share some other things with you as well that may upset what you thought, and maybe you'll think differently, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to stay where we are. We're not. You're not. You're supposed to continually elevate, extend, and expand. That's what we're always supposed to do. And as we do that, we'll go to a different level. And it doesn't mean what we were having, what we embraced as truth before is false. It's not that at all. It's truth for that place, but it's time to move to another place where there's a different truth. Now I hear people talking about they talk about my truth. You don't have a truth. You don't own anything. We own nothing. We have access to truth. You don't have my truth. That body's not even yours, but it's my body, right? My mind, my body, yeah. But the bottom line is it's not yours. You don't have a truth. We've got to find the truth, not yours, because your truth is diluted fact and opinion. And so I've been, oh well, that's your opinion. Okay, okay. If no one can speak into your life, and that's one of the things that people have to understand, especially the feminine. The feminine needs to understand that the masculine will speak, and it's designed to do that because masculine is vocal. Masculine is vocal. We're going to talk about some. I'm going to talk about some characteristics of the masculine and female and in the feminine, because we need to gain a better understanding of those things. Because what we're doing is we have a toxic femininity and we have a toxic masculinity, and those things aren't able to come together. And what we have is we have stuff in between that's keeping us to come together, and so we can't come together. We're bumping. We're bumping because we're not properly aligned. We're not properly aligned. But if we're going to be properly aligned, it behooves us to be able to hear. I get asked this a lot. Where you get that? Where did you what journal did you get that from? And I tell folks all the time, even if I was to tell you where I got it, you wouldn't believe it. Because by virtue of you asking that question says that you are in a state of unbelief. You're not in a state of willingness to hear. See how are we going to do it? How is an acronym for, and we used it in the 12-step model as honesty, openness, and willingness. Honest, honesty, openness, willingness. Are we that way when we come to the table and someone's trying to share something with us? No, no, no. We want to listen and wait for them to shut up and to disagree with them because we're unteachable. No one can teach you or tell you. We have plenty of people like that. And I've been told that I'm like that. Okay. If that's what you believe, then that's what you believe. But I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And if you know, hey, I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the ones who don't know. Because those are the ones to whom I'm sent. Okay? I'm not sent to everybody. But I'm appreciative for your time. And I've had a good time again. And I'm hoping that we have a better understanding, a little bit more about femininity and masculinity and how they came here, right? And how they went from binary to singularity, right? How we came here as boys and girls, not males and females. We matriculate to malehood and malehood. We matriculate to manhood and womanhood. We'll talk more about that. We'll talk more about that at another time. I want to once again ask you to share, like, and hit the notification bell. If you would do that, I would greatly appreciate it, to help us take the message of the theory of purposeology and the theory of the red hot mic. I'm mixing all this stuff up, but we'll get it all sorted out as we go on. But I'm hoping that you would do that you would share, like, and hit the notification. I hope that you would do it. And comments, please give me. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's reason. It's okay. We can do that. Even though you might not think that you can with me, you can. Okay. Listen, this is the Red Hot Mic, and the Red Hot Mic is not about some of the things that you might think, but um, we want to again help you. Um, some people say I belittle. No, that's not my intention. Correct is my intention, to correct. So until the next time, I love music. I hope you like the music too. So once again, until I next time,
out the streets, locked in the cave.
until the next time.
Hey,
Come on.
what up, Sig? Yeah, now I rep the O. What you know about the West Side? I just bought a whip, all in cash, live my best life. Bought a couple stocks, so I'm covered for the next 5. I don't like the top, but I will if you test my patiently waiting. You know me, but you been mistaken. Alone in my crib, I get ready. Up in the morning, I'm here to break it. Don't let it cap, and I don't fake it. I'm here to beg this bitch to take it. Liquor and women, I'm never
Come on in here.
me, but you know that I'm famous. I got way too much money coming out of woodwork. Remember back then, dog, I told them that it would work.
Until the next time.
Serious, I showed them that I could first.
Be off for Palmer.
Crib off the strings, but it's good. I got way too much money coming out of woodwork. Remember back then, dog, I told them that it would work. They ain't take it serious. I showed them that I could first. Now I got a crib off the strings, but it's good.
Next time.
I got bills, I need my mama up in the hills. All of these dudes